Once upon a time, God caused a overwhelmingly terrible, depressing, negative thought to physically just poof, vanish from my mind. And to this day, I cannot remember what it was. And this is how it happened. So, long ago, I was hanging out with my sister, my older sister, who I disagree with from time to time, but I love her to death. I'd take a bullet for her any day. All right. We're hanging out. I remember we were both lying down, looking up at the sky, just talking. She was about a foot to my left. And I remember I was in a great mood, like an ecstatic mood, almost like a euphoric mood. Because at that time I used to write a lot about some things, which is a story for another day for sure. But I was like on a tear with my writing, really excited about what was going on. Like just totally like pumped up and psyched up about what was going on in my life. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and when I mean nowhere, I mean out of nowhere, this came from just the void. I got hit with this, it was almost like a physical sensation, it was so strong, of like an overwhelmingly negative, horrible, just depressing thought. It just hit me. It was like getting the worst, most terrible news you've ever had given to you, ever. Just all of a sudden, just inject itself into your mind, unannounced. And I remember just being like frozen with just like terror in a way. It was just horrible. And then, as soon as that thought came into my mind, it just goes boom. And it just disappears out of existence. And to this day, I have no idea what it was. I have no idea what it was about. I have no idea what it consisted of at all. But the strange thing was that I had this immediate thought that my sister, who is all of like a foot to my left, had something to do with whatever that was disappearing. Like she had something to do somehow with making that thing go away. Like it wasn't even that I thought that she did. It was more like I intuitively like somehow knew it. Like I internalized like she had something to do with this somehow. But she wasn't even aware that this was going on, I thought. Because I was just looking straight ahead, up at the sky. She was doing the same. So I remember, I'll never forget this. I turn over to my left, I look at her and I go, what just happened? Like, what did you just do? Like, what just happened? And I'll never forget this. She looks at me like she has this dreamy looking expression on her face because she was just looking up too. But she looks over to me with this dreamy look and she goes, God just delivered you from something. And I was like, what? Because I wasn't even a Christian at the time. I got into Christianity like kicking and screaming. It's been a process for me. But she literally said that God just delivered you from something. And she was somehow aware. I talked to her about this, and somehow like she sensed that something was going on. And that the way that I understand this was that, because she used to pray for me relentlessly. Like my sister would pray for me, and some other people, in fact, relentlessly, that we would come to Christ and that we'd be protected and this and that. And thank God she did. But she, what I believe, what happened is that God basically, due to her prayers for me, intervened on my behalf in that moment to get whatever that was out. And like I said, to this day, it's gone. And nobody can explain, I've ever explained this to anybody, like nobody can explain to me how, in a logical, physical, like logical, worldly sense, how that's possible. Because, again, she not only knew and recognized the fact that something happened, but also recognized the fact that God delivered me from whatever it was. I didn't tell her this when this happened. I didn't say anything. I was like frozen in silence, like frozen. It was horrible, like horrible. But she somehow knew about it and knew that God delivered me from it and that he just took it away like that. And that was definitely one of those things, one of those building blocks, if you will, that helped me along this path to come to Jesus Christ. Because there are deeper things in this world than science and logic, so to speak, can explain. And it would behoove people to go down this conversational road in your minds to start to look into the deeper things. Because there are indeed deeper things in this world.